my purpose with my content is just to be able to inspire you and show you that healing is possible, becoming better is possible, getting out of your comfort zone, no matter how hard it is possible. And I am essentially leading an example by showing you of how I am doing hard things. It honestly took me so long to film this video, and I had so much resistance because it's gonna be very vulnerable, raw, honest conversation, almost like a sit down with a friend and having a heart to heart. I've been thinking a lot about my YouTube journey and how I am not where I thought I would be in a year since I started. I kind of realized that I was almost hiding behind a mask. I was trying to be somebody else, really not myself. And I think that really showcased in my content. I don't think I was genuine enough besides in my vlogs. I think that's where little bits of my authenticity showed up, but it was all my advice and stuff. Even though I think it's a good advice, I don't think I was genuine there. And I also realized that I didn't really share my story. I didn't really share who am I, why am I creating content, and why it is important for me to share things that I'm sharing, and why is it important for me to essentially create something, in this case content. I always loved making or creating things. So when I was a kid, I would paint and draw a lot. I also used to do pottery. I also used to play guitar. I used to play violin, and I used to play piano. Then I kind of met my best friend and I transferred into photography because she had a camera, I had access to internet, and I was able to find some crazy weird ideas for pictures, and she had enough patience to bring them to life. So that was another aspect of my creativity. Fast forward to probably 10 years ago when social media, Instagram became a thing. Around that time I also moved to Canada and I started posting on Instagram. I started sharing things about life in Canada, kind of giving my advice to possibly newcomers to Canada, how things are in Canada and all that kind of thing. But I realized that it wasn't really my thing, so I stopped doing that for a bit. A few things happened in between, unfortunately some traumatic events, and that made me shift into a completely different niche, which was nutrition, which was also very close to my heart because I was suffering from ED. I was obese at one point. I realized that nutrition is very important, and I was actually very passionate about it, and I loved cooking and baking. So the fact that I could create something along lines with the nutrition, thought that was meant to be, and I created a beautiful community of like-minded people. I was actually able to work with some brands, but then something happened and my Instagram account gets blocked. And I was trying to get access to it. I keep sending emails to support. I keep sending pictures with a piece of paper holding a code. And unfortunately, all my attempts failed and I wasn't able to get that account back. Then I created a new account and then that account gets blocked. And I was like, okay, maybe it's a sign. Maybe I need to take a step back and reassess. So that's what I did. And that's when I decided to take graphic design. And I thought it was a great opportunity. I actually started making some income off of it, but then February 2022 happened. I'm originally from Ukraine, so I think you know what happened during that month. Because majority of my clients were from Ukraine or Russia, I essentially lost those clients. I got severely depressed because my family was still there at a time, and I couldn't bring myself to do anything. It was just like a complete blur. I didn't really do much besides just going to work every day and trying to emotionally survive. So that was kind of my social media journey. I've been through some really heavy stuff, like few really bad breakups. I also lost a parent during that time, and I had an emergency surgery on top of everything. At one point, I also fractured both arms at the same time, so that was pretty interesting time in my life. Afterwards, that was end of 2023 is when I went through a really bad breakup. I was living a very abusive relationship and I had to do it very safely. Unfortunately, I'm not ready yet to talk about all the details and stuff, even though I think that I should, to provide some insight and experience, because I know that more people than we even know of are going through some really terrible things in relationship wise. I didn't really realize that until I actually got a comment on one of my videos asking what did I do in my days besides going to work and sleeping. And I realized that for majority of my time, I was actually losing myself in relationships, and I was catering to others. I was people pleasing, and I was completely abandoning my own needs, because I think in a way it was easier just to do something for somebody rather to trying to understand, realize what you want and what kind of goals you want to achieve. Do something for yourself, because that also takes an effort and an honest talk with yourself. And I think I was avoiding that for the longest time. After I left my abusive relationship, I essentially had to start from scratch. I got an apartment. I had to figure out how to furnish it and everything. It was pretty, I want to say it was fun, but it also wasn't, because I was very sad about the whole situation. It was very traumatizing, and I was trying to heal at the same time, and I don't know, it was a really hard time, and I wasn't confident at all. So I was also trying to rebuild my confidence, and that's why I essentially started a YouTube channel, just to kind of push myself out of my comfort zone and prove myself that I can do hard things, prove myself that I can share things, and prove that I have things that I can share that will be valuable for others. This journey of healing essentially made me realize that I don't really know what I want, and I don't really know sometimes what I like and what I don't like, because I got so lost in relationships. So this journey and all my content was more focused on that, as to kind of discovering myself again and just rediscovering what I like, what I don't like, rebuilding my life from scratch. And to be honest with you, I actually never lived on my own, because when I moved to Canada, I was in a long-term relationship and I was with somebody. Then I had a short period when I was by myself, and then I got into another long-term relationship. So I essentially never really have been on my own. It also has been a very interesting experience in that way. The reason why I'm all about all things cozy and all kinds of things, because I believe that when you create a cozy environment around yourself, it will be easier to create a cozy environment within yourself. That's why I like, to occasionally light up some candles, or make sure that I have like a cute setup, like I have a bunch of knickknacks and all those kind of things. I also started appreciating little things in life, little things in my daily routine, like for example, making my matcha every morning. This is just something so peaceful and so therapeutic. It keeps me present and in a moment. I love going for our walks with Lucy, because it's just, again, something peaceful. I'm able to admire nature, and I'm actually able to admire how seasons change, because I think that's just so pretty and so beautiful. So I'm trying to showcase that with my content as well, and kind of inspire others to do the same. This is essentially kind of like a little story about myself in a nutshell, and why am I creating content, and why am I also sharing things about like self-development and healing and all that kind of stuff, because I believe that every person is deserving of healing, no matter how hard and difficult it can be. And trust me, this healing journey has had its ups and downs, and there's a couple days I feel like super light, super grateful for everything. I feel like I'm the one with everything around me, and then there's some days where I feel like so deeply depressed and I don't even know what to do with my life. It's gonna be soon 2 years since I started living on my own and figuring things out day by day. I also started this little thing where I am reflecting on the month and kind of setting up my goals, so I keep up with that tradition, which is why this is the second part of the video where I'll share some reflections on April. For the months of April, what I'm really proud of is I have been able to read every day, which felt amazing. I think I had like the longest reading streak of like 49 days. That's what my books app told me. So I was like, wow, that's great. This year I finally was able to celebrate Easter, and I actually made traditional Ukrainian Easter bread. I shared it with my friends and coworkers, and I even painted some Easter eggs, so that was pretty fun. I also completed some goals and stepped out of my comfort zone. For example, I went to a pottery workshop by myself. Even though I got some weird looks that I was there completely by myself, I didn't really care. I had lots of fun. And then I know it's probably gonna sound really weird, but I worked at a coffee shop with my laptop for the first time. I haven't done it ever, so that was pretty fun and interesting experience as well. The other thing that I'm really proud of is that I completed a workout program of 6 weeks, and I was able to work out essentially every day, which again felt amazing. I pushed myself out of my comfort zone. It felt amazing also because, as I said before, I fractured both of my arms. So it was great to see that I am able to push myself a little bit harder and see that I can actually get more strength as I work out. April was kind of weird because the first months of April felt amazing. It felt great. But then the other part of April, I felt completely off, like I didn't belong and I didn't really know what to do with myself. It's been very uncomfortable, but again, journaling helped a lot, therapy helped a lot, reading helped a lot. Unfortunately, I didn't really quite manage my completely no spend goal, but I was still trying to be more mindful of what I'm spending and what am I buying. What felt aligned in April is having a morning routine. That definitely helped, and doing yoga every Sunday. That was completely amazing for my well-being, and just to kind of ground myself and finish week mindfully and have a more intentional start to the next week. I absolutely loved it, and I'm still keeping up with this tradition on yoga every Sunday. Just absolutely feels amazing. What felt forced for some reason, sometimes filming content and just doing certain things felt forced. I feel like I was trying to be someone who I wasn't. And I actually, when I was doing yoga, I think it was a new moon yoga, I set up an intention to be able to express myself more freely and genuinely. And I think that's what I'm doing with this video. I am learning and I am trying to shift. Biggest lesson of the months, I realized how important it is to connect with your friends and with your loved ones, and to actually make effort to connect with your friends, because these connections are very important. We need to be part of community. We need to communicate with others. We need to spend time with like-minded people, because we're able to learn, we're able to grow, and we're just able to feel better, essentially. Emotional check-in, I kind of talked about it briefly, but essentially the first part of April felt amazing, energizing, inspiring. I felt great. The other part was I was feeling off. I had to sit a lot with my feelings, even though it was completely uncomfortable. But I realized that these things happen, and everything passes, and it kind of things come and go in waves, and that's okay. Goals for next month. I know that it's currently middle of months and I'm just sharing this video, but essentially my goals is to express myself more freely and authentically, whether it's in videos, my style, or even in my home. Then I want to go on a solo hike. It's my 17th and I haven't done it yet, so I gotta make sure I do that. Also, I want to try to have an outdoor picnic with Lucy and go on a road trip, but we'll see how that goes. More than half of May is over and I haven't done really any of those goals, so I gotta make sure that I do them. But if you've made it this far in this video, thank you so much for watching. I am hoping that you are able to learn more about me. I am hoping you're able to understand who I am, where I'm coming from when I'm creating my videos, and essentially that this video was able to provide you more insight and context into who I am, and hopefully you would be interested in becoming part of this community and just following this journey, because my purpose with my content is just to be able to inspire you and show you that healing is possible, becoming better is possible, getting out of your comfort zone no matter how hard it is possible. And I am essentially leading an example by showing you of how I am doing hard things that are hard for myself. Maybe when somebody's watching a certain video, like a certain thing that I've done, for example, like a solo trip, they're like, oh, that's easy. But for me, that was such an extremely hard thing to do, because I was so terrified of driving. Going on the trip completely by myself, planning everything completely by myself was just like a huge step out of my comfort zone, which is why I put so much impact on that trip and I created a vlog. I am hoping that this little corner on the internet will be able to provide you some inspiration and motivation. No matter how much you think that you're not confident and that your self-esteem is low, trust me, it is possible to get out of that shell. It is possible to become someone who you thought you'll never be, in a good way. I'm just hoping that this video will be relatable for you and you'll be able to learn something and maybe get some inspiration or motivation. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for sticking out through this video, and I am genuinely hoping that you'll be interested to stick around and see where this journey takes me. So again, thank you so much. I hope you have a great day or a great night, and I'll see you soon.